Hey guys, Tomasz here. Here we have the MX2. It's getting a few years outdated. I think it's 2 or 3 years old. They come up with the MX Master 3, which, as you can see, they're pretty much identical. The big difference is the MX Master 3 is USB-C, and the MX Master 2 wasn't USB-C, it was micro USB. So this video is how to convert your MX Master 2 to USB-C using this little PCB that I made. Here's the PCB I ended up coming up with. We have one resistor on each side, 5.1 kilo ohm resistor. This is connected straight to the CC line and then to ground, which basically just tells your PD controller, hey, I'm only accepting 5 volts 1 amp. We got the the USB-C port over here. As you can see, it only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pins. This doesn't do data. It's a simplified USB-C port. I'll link the manufacturer below. It's to make my soldering life easier and anyone else who wants to make this, if I end up uploading the files on GitHub. And this mimics this shape here. Yeah, okay, it's been cut, so you can't really tell. But I traced this shape before I got it to be manufactured. With the idea is just plug and play. You cut this part of the board off, and then you just slot this one in, solder 2 jumper wires, and you should be done. To change your mouse to USB-C, we do need to access the main motherboard to make some modifications, which requires us to disassemble the mouse. Thankfully, I fixed it as a really good guide, so you can follow along with it while you go down. So big thank you to Victor Crespo. Before we move on, step 1 of this guide is to peel these mouse feet. You don't have to peel them completely, but you do have to partially peel them. And from my experience, when I put the mouse back together, the feet kept sticking out. So I had to order some off Amazon. So do keep that in mind. Follow through. You will have to separate this into 2 parts. Keep in mind the ribbon style connector. You really don't want to rip that. Some of these steps are to fully disassemble the mouse. We're just trying to get to the main motherboard, so you don't have to worry about step 3. Same thing here. Same thing. We won't need to be disassembling this mechanism. Step 11 is important. You will have to remove the battery. Also some extra screws, because there's 2 PCB layers here. And the main motherboard is below. Once that top layer is gone, you will have to remove the main scroll wheel mechanism. Perfect. Now we get to the motherboard that we will be modifying. You see on the left, it says number 5, circle around in white. On the flip side of that is the micro USB connector. This is our main focus from this tutorial. So you will have to remove everything up to this step. Here we get the motherboard that we just saw from the iFixit. Now, this is all very beautiful. Here we have the optical sensor. Here we got some switches. This is your on-off switch. The only area we're going to be focusing on is right here. The first thing I'd like to mention is you see this really big gap over here? This is the main thing that allows this project to work out. So what I ended up doing is tracing this shape over here to make my own board. Switch that out to USB-C. Now you're going to cut along this red line. Try and be more conservative towards the the micro USB port, because that's going in the trash. And then you can simply file it down, which is what I did. You will have to end up getting pretty close for this to work. Now, once you get that all done, what are you going to connect? So this is ground. It always is. Connectors always have their shell at ground. Use my multimeter. I found out this over here is also ground. And now 5 volts. Here we have a beautiful, lovely filtering capacitor. And this inside port, or pad, be a better word, is your 5 volts. These are the 2 pads I recommend connecting with. You don't want to connect both of them to the same capacitor. I just thought you were putting too much thermal stress. It's not worth it. Connect your 5 volts over there to the center and put your ground over there in the corner. This is what I ended up coming up with. That worked. we had ground connected to this pin over here.
And there, right on the inside of the filtering capacitor, is going to be a 5 volts. That's where you're going to be connecting your V-bus to.
Why did I connect it to the bottom and not the top on both sides? Because once you get the actual board on, also don't forget, you will need to file this down quite a bit. Here, you're going to need to file that down quite a bit. I recommend getting a screwdriver in here and moving it across. I got something like this and I was just moving it until it fit. Now, why did I do it connected to the bottom? Because the PCB is double-sided and it actually connects to the bottom. So you're first gonna have to fit this in and then that. Once you make that cut, you can see it's a little jagged because I did have to sand it a bit until it fit. With some sanding, you can fit both of these in. And now you can connect 5 volts to the other side and you connect your ground as well. Now over here, you're gonna have to be quite careful fitting this around because everything here sits flush. Like this. And now you're just going to repeat the iFixit backwards. Before continuing any further, I would recommend plugging it in. Here I got 5 volts. You should have a flashing light on the bottom. Also, don't forget, like I have, you got to put the switch back in or else you're going to have to connect it like that. And now if we're correct, we should see flash. Ta-da! There you go, it works.
Follow the tutorial for my fix it backwards, assemble the mouse, be careful your ribbon cables, and you're all done. Thanks for watching, guys.